Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Power Podcast Raw Rundown. We start out, actually, we're officially on the road to WrestleMania after, only like 5 million pay-per-views last month. There were a few, there's a lot to cover. It's a good time to be in the wrestling podcast business because there's plenty to talk about. The show starts with a Becky Lynch promo. She plays a video that's putting over Shayna Baszler, and it ends with Shayna calling Becky a dirty word. Becky talks about how she beat Ronda Rousey last year and how it's really difficult to beat a killer. And she reminds everybody, hey look, I beat Ronda at WrestleMania last year. It did a good job of putting over the feud. It was weird though. The promo started Raw, and somebody's name was said, and they didn't come down to the ring. Interesting. We're getting, I don't know, it was just weird. I fully expected Shayna to come out and there'd be a confrontation, but I don't know, I'm still torn on this match for multiple reasons, but it leads into something that I really appreciated. It was Angel Garza and Rey Mysterio. It was a really fun match. I would love to see this be a long-lasting feud and go on to WrestleMania, and it be like Rey passing the torch to Angel Garza. Garza's that good. We get all the classic Rey spots, and he pulls out the win. He got revenge for being DDT'd into the concrete by Garza a few weeks ago. So, I guess there is a little bit of a storyline. I like to see this turned into an official feud. Or maybe we're going to get a four-way between Humberto, Andrade, Garza, and Mysterio for the U.S. title at WrestleMania. That could be fun. Just interesting to see where they're going with this. So we go back in time and backstage. We get AOP, Murphy, and Popcorn Eating Rollins waiting on KO to arrive. I wish they would have actually explained the popcorn. If you missed the pay-per-view, it was part of KO's brilliance. He came out of the crowd eating popcorn, watching the tag title match, and was the distraction. A fight ensued in 3-on-1, even if your KO is impossible to overcome. It sets up stuff for later on in the show, which this is a huge feud. We're going to get Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I kind of hope this is a push for Kevin Owens. His run with the belt earlier was lackluster, but I think this is a good time to start getting him over to start a program with him at that level. Then we get there's a Rhea Ripley video putting her over and a Charlotte promo. Charlotte talks about being the best. She completely rips off one of her dad's promos about to be the best, you gotta beat the best, and blah and blah. And Ripley shows up. She punches Charlotte at the end. I'm assuming based on this that Charlotte's the heel and Rhea's the good guy, because we all wanted to see Charlotte get her face punched. And Rhea gave us what we wanted. It's going to be good. I'm not sure how they're going to book it. Yeah, it's just interesting. I was wondering why we're talking about the NXT title on Raw though. That was a little odd for me, but I guess, it's Charlotte. She's a big deal because of her last name, so we kind of have to. Then we go on to Bobby Lashley versus Zack Ryder. I guess we had to get Bobby Lashley on TV somehow. He won a 45 seconds, maybe a minute long match over poor Zack Ryder. And that's entirely because of the Rusev contract situation. Don't know if he's going to re-sign. That's still a negotiation, so we had to get Bobby on TV, and it got Zack Ryder back on TV, but poor guy. I was happy to see he's still with the company. Then we get Aleister Black in his room backstage, and he's waiting. and I'm waiting, and I thought we were done with this, him waiting on somebody to knock on the door kind of thing, but somebody did. Seth Rollins knocks on the door, and he had Murphy with him, and they're offering him a spot in his group, and you know, they talk about what happened at the pay-per-view about the numbers game, and Aleister Black refuses, and we're getting Rollins versus Aleister Black later in the show, and I'm just like, yes, this could be brilliant. Two of the better in-ring performers. I like Seth Rollins' work. I like Aleister Black's work. Yes, I want to see this. No way WWE can screw this up, can they? Then probably, as far as like the match itself, one of my favorite moments of the entire night, because just how they're using Drew McIntyre and how they're pushing Drew McIntyre, and I'm loving it. It's a solid match between two big guys can work. That, you know, Drew's a great performer. Eric Rowan's a very underrated performer, and it was good. It was hard hitting, everything you expect it to be. Eventually, Drew McIntyre gets the ring steps and he crushes the spider cage with it, and I laughed because you saw the reveal last week. It was a big mechanical tarantula, and well, big spiders deserve death. That's my opinion. That's what happens in this house. So I'm glad that it got what it deserved. Anyway, Drew wins with the Claymore kick. The crowd counted down with him, and he couldn't be more over really right now if he tried. So bravo, great booking, way to push him to the top. I'm excited about this at WrestleMania because I want to see the place explode when he wins. Because he kinda has to win, right? We get not sure what to call it. Maybe broody Randy Orton backstage. Somehow he's standing there in the back and there's a camera on him and he doesn't say anything and he's just leaning on the wall. Which leads us to the Kabuki Warriors beating Liv Morgan and Natalia. Which is was a weird pairing. Good to see the tag champs are actually working together as a tag team. Their promo coming to the ring, it was mostly Japanese, but it's still brilliant. They're ridiculously entertaining. It's weird to see them in another spot where they were used to advance somebody else's storyline, because this was really all about the Riot Squad and their issues that they're having. Because Ruby and Sarah Logan came down and Liv Morgan fought with them, and Natalya gets her head kicked off by Asuka, who did a blind tag, and the Kabuki Warriors win. And there's some like funny little spots during the match. Just like Kairi Sane has Liv Morgan in the ropes and is like messing around with like slapping her face and patting her on the head. And just fun little silly moments that, I don't know, I enjoy them maybe more than I should, I guess. But I'm glad to see that the women's tag belts are going to matter. Maybe there's rumors of a three-way dance for those at Mania, but we'll see how that continues on. And then I'll just say this up front. I'm an AJ Styles fan. I'm not gonna hide that. But usually his if he's just gonna do a promo, I will usually use it as a bathroom spot. I'll be honest, he's brilliant in the ring. Like, you put him in there with a broomstick or whatever, and that's good. He's going to make it entertaining. You're going to believe that the broomstick could flip and win. It's crazy how talented the man is. But the promos have tended to lag behind in-ring talent. This one's different. I am invested in the feud with The Undertaker now. He came out And AJ is just spitting fire. He's talking about how Taker should have retired after his streak was beat by Brock Lesnar. And then he mentions the stunt where he left the hat and the gloves in the ring after the Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania. And it's like, why didn't you stay retired then? Look, Mark Calloway, you're a beat up old man. And I'm going, what? So, what? Mark Calloway, that's Taker's real name. For those of you that don't know. And then it says Michelle, you know, Taker's real wife, is to blame for his zombie of a career still going. Yeah. What else can you say about this? I'm invested. I want to see it now. And then they pat themselves on the back for having a lot of views on YouTube after this. Like, AJ says he's going to take the Undertaker's soul at WrestleMania. And then we go, yay, YouTube! I don't know. Then Charlie Caruso finds Orton backstage, and she's like, so, what do you have to say about Edge? And he doesn't even talk to her. Let's see here. Riddick Moss versus Cedric Alexander for the 24/7 title. There's three things I want to know here. Are we not doing the 24/7 gimmick anymore? Like, is it not like the hardcore title where it was defended 24/7? And if not, doesn't this just make it like basically an ugly version of the TV title from back in the day? Like a lower mid-card belt for... I mean, I like Riddick Moss. He's got potential. I just want to know what they're doing with the belt. Did they just kill the gimmick because R-Truth's not part of it anymore, or these are questions that I want to have answered. And who does Cedric Alexander piss off? Dude's ridiculously talented, and all I've seen him do lately is job. Like, Kurt Hawkins is going, man, you losing a lot. It's craziness. And Riddick Moss won. He's the longest reigning 24/7 champ in history of the thing. I mean, at least R-Truth kept it entertaining. It was always some randomness. I mean, what, Kyle Busch won it? Okay, you never knew what was going to happen with the belt, and that was part of the appeal of it. That's what made it fun. Then MVP's in the ring, and I'm like, oh, wow, MVP, you're still here. And he talks about he's retired from in-ring competition and he wants to start a stable. And he says, Edge, you're the first person I want to recruit for this stable. And of course, who just happens to show up at that time? It's crazy. It's wonderful how the timing of this works out sometimes. Edge completely ignores MVP in the ring, comes out, and he just calls out Orton. He's like, look, where are you at, Randy? We got to talk. And MVP's like, whoa, you're looking at the wrong thing. And I'm wondering what MVP's smoking to think that Edge is looking at the wrong thing, because dude tried to, he, beat the crap out of him in the ring, then beat up his wife, and he's supposed to talk to you instead? Nah. So, then MVP interrupts him, and he's like, so, how's your wife doing? Which doesn't sit well with Edge, who, MVP eats a spear for his effort. And then Orton attacks from behind, and we're like, oh no, this isn't good for Edge. And, Edge gets Diamond Cut. I refuse to call it RKO, because Edge doesn't hit it the same way Randy does. It's more of a DDP style. So that's what I'm going to do. Then Edge sets up a concerto on Orton, who slithers out of the ring. And MVP eats a Diamond Cutter on the chair and a concerto himself, which leads to Edge chasing Orton through the back until he's told that Orton has left. Then we get a weird video saying that we're getting a contract signing between AJ Styles and Undertaker. AJ just said he's going to steal the man's soul, but they're going to get along long enough to sign a contract. Yay, wrestling! Then we get Aleister Black versus Seth Rollins, and I'm excited. I'm like, these are two guys I wanted to see wrestle for a long time. It started out well enough. There's a German suplex, Murphy interfered, and we got a DQ finish. I guess if you got two people you want to protect, you just get a DQ finish, which unfortunately is par for this group's course. I mean, AOP got involved, and then we get an 8-man tag match. Yeah, so we get the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits versus AOP and Rollins and Murphy to end the show. First off, where did Aleister Black go? He was just fighting Seth Rollins, and he just kind of was like, okay, fine, you know, I did my thing. Peace out, everybody. Y'all have fun with this 8-man tag. It felt forced. It was solid. Montez Ford hits this crazy jump into the crowd. He gets everybody but Seth Rollins. He gets curb stomped, and Rollins gets the win. So the bad guys win, and the bad guys keep winning because Owens comes in on fire. He stuns everybody except Rollins, and then he gets 3 curb stomps for his effort. Raw ends with the bad guys prevailing. I mean, overall, pretty solid show. It set up a lot of angles for WrestleMania. Go back, make sure that you watch the Ray Garza match, and you watch Drew kill a spider. It was a good match overall, but that's what made it great. Kabuki Warriors, you know, that tag team match was solid. It had weird spots, but it was entertaining. And make sure that the two, like, you have to watch AJ Styles talk. I've never said that before in my entire life, so do it. And then, of course, the Edge and Orton section. If you miss those, you miss the best parts of Raw this week. Anyway, thank you guys for your time. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe, talk to me. I want to know how we're doing. Thank you, and have a good week.
It's WCW Tough Talking Wrestlers. So smart they know who they're talking to.
Bring it on, Nash. Goldberg, I dare you.
They're really talking to each other.
Goldberg, you're no match for the Stinger
They
Splash.
actually know each other's names.
Yo, Jacko, don't turn your back on me, Nash.
Wow, he really knows it's Nash.
Tough Talking Wrestlers even know who they're fighting.
My right arm will tear you in half. Nash, like to see you try.
They even know who they're pinning.
No one can beat the Stinger.
DDP. You 12-inch WCW Tough Talking Wrestlers come in 2-packs. Batteries not included.
Hey guys, welcome to this week of the Pro Wrestling Power Podcast. I'm your co-host, Retro Joe, and this week we have a little bit of a different thing going on. There's no NWA Power this week. We have episodes 2 and 3 of the Circle Squared. That's right, the competition where you as the audience vote for who will get an NWA contract. Very, very cool idea, just like the Tough Enough, but a little bit different. More of a retro type wrestling contract, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, we have 2 matches tonight, and we'll start right into the first one. We have George South versus Colby Corina. Now, I rated these a little differently this week. This is not, since this is a competition, I'm rating these on 2 different categories, promo and in-ring ability. So, there's not going to be any macho yeahs on this episode for NWA. George South versus Colby Corina. Now, George South is your standard old guy super heel type character. Colby Corina is the young up and coming new guy who has, you know, the back family story with, you know, I want my son to be proud of me and, you know, I've got a lot going for me. So he's obviously the babyface in this match. Now when they came out, they always come out at the beginning, they do the promos first and then they do their match. Now, whether they win or lose is it's not really a big deal. They say on the show, you know, I'm coming here to win, but really it's about who's good in the ring. It doesn't matter who wins or loses these competitions. So, because the audience is going to judge however they want to judge it. So I gave these out of a 10 score. George South, he's kind of an older guy. He's a super heel. He's got that whole, y'all rednecks, y'all get out of here, and I hate you guys and all this. He's got it down, man. He's got the old school super heel down. But, you know, I gave him a high rating with it when his promo, but he's a little too old, and he's a little too crusty, and he's a little too super heel. I mean, there is a point where there's too much heel because he kept repeating the same heel words over and over. He'd yell at the audience, and then he would repeat those words again. And you have to make stuff different. But you know, he's an older guy. He's been in the ring a long time, and yeah, I mean, I didn't really care for him in this match, honestly. I mean, he's great on the mic. He's a great heel character, but he's past his prime. We'll just say that much. I know it's much to say because Rock and Roll Express is still in the ring and all that, but they're quicker than him. He is very sluggish with his moves. He doesn't sell. I saw a couple of botches that he done. I'll tell you straight up, I gave his promo 8 out of 10, and we'll move on from that. Now, Colby Corino, he was pretty good too, but he stuttered a little bit in the promo, but he turned the stutter into a, you know, thing where he was proud of himself, and you know, his kid's gonna see it when he gets older, and he had that crying thing going on, and he was stuttering. So that kind of worked for him. So there was a couple little hiccups in his promo, but it was pretty solid. I mean, he didn't miss any words, he didn't miss any cues. So I gave him a solid 7 out of 10 rating on this one. For in-ring ability now, like I just said before, George South, the older guy, he's having trouble selling his moves. Now, this comes with age. There's some older guys that can still do it great, but this guy I've never heard of. None of these guys I've ever heard of, actually. George, I gave him a 4 out of 10 in his in-ring ability because he was pretty sloppy. He hit moves. Some of them looked okay, but he missed more than he hit. So I had to give him a 4 out of 10. As for Colby Corino, I gave him a 7 out of 10 on his match and his in-ring ability skills. So in this match, we have Colby Corino taking the win via a roll-up pin out of the corner. Like I said before, it doesn't matter who wins, who loses. None of them is going to have any finishers. George kept hitting this thing where it was like, he called it the claw. He kept hitting it. It's like almost like a mandible claw type move. He hit it like 4 times, but I was like, man, you know, the first time cool, second time cool, third time, fourth time, nah, dude, come on, move on. You can't be using that over and over and over. It just looked silly, and I didn't care for it. Corino sold every move that George gave him, and Corino has a lot of in-ring ability that I can see that he can use in the future to become a better wrestler. Now, we're moving on to match 2 of the night, the first women's match on the Circle Squared. This one was hard to watch. I mean, I have to rate these how I see them, and I know these are amateur wrestlers, and hardly anybody's heard of these people before, but when you get a shot to big time, you got to go big or go home. That's all I'm going to say about that. You got to go big or go home. So, match 2, we have a character called Freya the Slayer from Alaska. That's right, from Alaska, versus Danny Jordan, whose character is like a mean girl from the Mean Girls movie. So yeah, she's like a mean girl. Now, on the promo side of the things, Freya really didn't do good at all. You could see she was nervous. She stumbled. She had a little shake to her going on. She missed a couple of lines. Some of her stuff didn't make much sense at all. I mean, it wasn't anything, you know, that really frightened me about her. She's a big woman who's supposed to be this big slayer, and I wasn't scared of her. You know, I wasn't scared of her on the promo. She looked scared. She's supposed to be this big beast, and she didn't sound scary at all. So I gave her a 2 out of 10. Sorry to say, Freya, but I gave you a 2 out of 10. You got to work on them mic skills, girl. So yeah, Danny came out, and her gimmick is she's the mean girl. She's this burn book where she has this bad stuff she writes about all the women wrestling. She did amazing. She didn't stumble. She had a good banter with Freya in the ring. It was great. She really sold that character. I gave her 8 out of 10. She did amazing with it. As for in-ring ability, ooh. Now this you can't put on either or. I would have rated Danny higher if it was probably someone else in the ring. Freya, unfortunately, looks super amateur in the ring. You know, I don't want to hurt people's feelings, you know, if they watch this. But Freya, you need to work on your in-ring ability and your standard move set. She didn't have very much of a move set. She had like a total of, I think on two hands I could count the moves she did. Usually people do, upwards of 50 moves, during a match. She had less than 10. I'm about to say she had less than 10. She stumbled a lot. The only thing I did like about her, she got hit in the knee, but it was kind of a botch, and she sold that. That's what you're supposed to do, Freya. Good job on that. But your moveset, I'm sorry, it wasn't good. Your moveset was sloppy, you couldn't sell, and it wasn't believable. The whole thing wasn't believable. You're supposed to be this big beast, and you started to play into that with Danny at the beginning of the match, but it just didn't play out the way it should have. So I gave Freya a 3 out of 10 for in-ring ability. As for Danny, like I said, I would have rated her higher if it was probably against another opponent. Your moves look only as good as your partner. If you have a very bad partner, your moves aren't going to look as good as if you had a good partner. Like say AJ Styles, WWE. AJ Styles can make anybody look amazing. I could probably go in there and he could sell the crap out of a move that I'm not that good at. That's just how good he is. Like I said, you're only as good as who you're wrestling. So, Danny, I gave her 6 out of 10. Would have rated her higher if it was a different opponent, because she does have moves and it does look like she has something to give. So anyways, that's all for the Circle Squared this week. Just remember that you can go onto their website, on NWA's website, and vote for who you want to get a contract with the NWA. And that's all for this week, guys. So remember to keep it retro.